Genius.
Well, and to your point, I would add that to the toolkit of anybody who's wants to own a laundromat or currently owns a laundromat is model building. So being able to build a model to make decisions, and take in hey, let's weigh these two different decisions using all the information I have, and does it make more sense to buy new equipment versus just continue to repair the new ones if I can look at the expected costs over the next 10 years of repairing. Like being able to make those decisions, informed decisions using models is I feel like really critical in running any business. So if you're not super familiar with that as well, I know there's a ton of resources out there.
Yeah. Just on a very basic level, can you give me like an example? So let's say should I replace equipment or not? Can you give me like a very basic example of, model building to help make that decision?
Yeah. So you want to look at what are all your inputs? So your two scenarios are scenario A. I'm going to completely replace everything. Scenario B, I'm going to just continue to Band-Aid fix stuff, for the next however long. So for scenario A, you need to figure out, okay, well, this is the cost, this is going to be my cost. Do you have financing? Is there going to be other fees that you're going to incur? And then additionally, what are the, benefits of that? Do you think you're going to see increased revenue due to these new machines? Maybe you can increase prices a little bit. So you need to start thinking about all those different variables that are going to come into that and capture those in the model. Let's say for scenario B, hey, I'm just going to be, Band-Aid fixing this stuff. I expect the costs, are going to increase 10% each year for this. So you have to build something that's going to incorporate all those different expectations, and then you basically just compare. Once you get all those inputs and you feel comfortable with the model, you can look at it and see, okay, well, what's the benefit from scenario A versus scenario B. And so, there's always going to be something missing. You're not going to capture everything. A good model is only as good as its inputs. And, but it's like everything else we've kind of talked about. It's just a mode of thinking. It allows you to take something and to think about it in an intelligent, rational way, versus kind of what we do, if I was to go through my gut, I'd probably be out of business in a month because my gut isn't great. That's why I rely on numbers. And so it's that's just kind of, I let that do the thinking for me, and build it out that way.
Yeah, I love that. And in this particular scenario, you may run some of the data and find out that some of the equipment is doing just fine. Maybe your 40 and 60 pounders they're fine. They're actually not costing you that much money. And it turns out it's your top loaders and 20 pounders or whatever, right? That's really costing you. And then you can build a new model where you keep your 40s and 60s and you replace your tops in your 20s and see how that compares to the other two models too. So you can get more granular if you want. And again, just make better decisions based on the numbers.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with time value of money and stuff like that, it's non-negligible when you're doing that kind of analysis as well. So learning how to incorporate that is helpful. If you can't do it, doing something without it is still better than nothing. But being able to do like discount rates on things and understand hey, if I took this $100,000 and put it into a new laundromat versus repairing this machine, what would be my ROI? Opportunity costs associated with all this stuff. So there's no shortage of things you need to take into consideration, but yeah, I would highly suggest people who are in this business to get comfortable with some level of model building so they can start making informed decisions.
Yeah. And even if you're brand new to model building or any of these things that we talked about today, the beauty of these things is that you can get more sophisticated over time, right? You can start very simple. And, I always talk about when I do a weekly webinar, and about half the time I do one on how to analyze a laundromat deal, right? And when I talk about, verifying income, I say, hey, there's a range of what the income can be. And our goal during due diligence is to narrow that range as much as possible, right? Because it's really, really difficult to pinpoint exactly how much money's coming in. So we're narrowing the range as much as possible so we can make the best decision possible. And so that's kind of the same, concept. If you're building a model, maybe you don't have all the variables, but you have some information, and it'll give you some picture that'll have some range. And over time, you can refine the models. You can, add new variables and narrow the range of basically, whatever your model is doing. Narrow the error within your model. All right, we have a little section called Secret Sauce.